Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel. And thank you for joining this audio radio, no pictures live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you're driving along in your car or in your truck or on public transport. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the inside sort of gossip, if you like, that's coming out of the British political establishment, and that is in the Tory Conservative Party, who've just lost a lot of seats and votes in the most recent election, and they're looking around, who's going to lead the party in the future, and who's going to be their leader as of a day or two from now. And there's a bit of confusion over that. I suppose it's a poison chalice, or perceived as such by some, and they don't really want it. People who've got an eye on a serious political career know that the Tories are out of government for at least 5, if not 15 years. And so to move too early is to burn yourself on the altar of going nowhere. And so the better players may not be interested. On the other side of it, the Labor Party is who are now in government, really playing the race, gender card and hustling their asses off there. So the idea is that, well, shall we out woke them? Shall we outflank them on the woke thing? And what if we put up a black chick as the leader? Then they can hardly accuse the Conservatives of being racist or sexist or misogynist or something like that. So in the era of woke insanity, putting a black chick with dreadlocks out front is tactically, it's got merit, I guess. You look at it, but let's just consider this now. Maybe by thinking of the past, we do the current day in the reality of the current world a disservice. But remember, it was not long. It was just over 100 years ago when the British Empire was this great, mighty empire, all powerful, and with a navy that was very powerful, would send shivers down the spine of any recalcitrant third world leader or Eastern potentate or very advanced Britain, very advanced technologically, huge trading empire and massive a massive merchant marine fleet, and yet now Britain, of course, is a shadow of its former greatness. And if we think of the past and think of the great men who were the great inventors, the great political leaders, the great thinkers, the great achievers in any sort of examination of that in world affairs, now we're down to talking about, do we appoint a Nigerian, a black chick with dreadlocks, to be the leader of this once mighty party that was once political party, was once a key player in the once mighty empire. So maybe looking at the past is no help. It's a crying shame when you look at the come down and the decline in not just Britain and its position in the world, its prestige, its wealth, its influence, and so on. It's not just that. It's the utter humiliation that a Nigerian black chick with dreadlocks is thought of or even contemplated, even in Parliament, let alone looking at being the leader of this once mighty party. But that's where we are today. So that's the reality. So let's deal with that now. Kemi's she lived in Nigeria for 15 or so years. Her mother just came to Britain to have birth, exploiting the loophole in the law, if you like, that if you're born in Britain, you have a right to British citizenship. So, and Kemi admits this herself, but that's hardly a claim, I would think, to British citizenship and a position in the Parliament. But anyway, so let's just have a look at Kemi. Is she? She's not a moron, but I hardly sort of say she was bright. She still talks like she's in the high school debating team, the girly debating team, and doesn't seem to be able to talk like an adult. Not that I've heard, anyway. when she walks, it seems like she's got some sort of lower back problems or something. She's got serious knock knees, this sort of waddling, staggering gait, and so when she puts on high heels, it's like she's trying to navigate some sort of walking on platforms or something. Incomplete dentition when surely her wealth would allow her to address that. The girly, racy, girly dreadlocks. Serious attitude of entitlement, as far as I interpret it, at least. And she's got a couple of publicity photos or publicity shots of footage of her walking along, surrounded by fawning white men and women who are admiring her greatness and leadership qualities. Now, maybe she has these. I don't see it, but if you think sort of morally finger wagging, people like a preschool school mum sort of finger wagging 5-year-old children is what constitutes great political leadership, then I don't know. Maybe she does pass muster on that, but again, I can't see it. Now, as I've mentioned sort of a gazillion times, I've done a huge amount of business traveling around the world, and one thing I've noticed with black chicks, this is mainly an American thing, a little bit in Australia, but or elsewhere, but mainly in the United States, is when you give undeserving, unqualified, over-promoted, affirmative action black chicks any sort of power, it goes to their heads very, very quickly, and they go straight to moral lecturing, finger wag moral lecturing way of talking. So in order to, if you like, compensate for their sense of inadequacy and the fact that they've been over-promoted to such a degree and are so undeserving of the position they have, they try and turn every interaction into a moral lecture of some sort, where they remind you of your moral inadequacy. And this, as they would see it, would level the playing field. So they don't attempt to be technically competent or efficient or competent at their job or their duties or delivering results, or they don't want to be measured for results. They just want to morally lecture everybody. And as soon as they have a bit of power, they default straight to this. And I've noticed this is uniform wherever you go. It seems to, and I noticed that same attitude in my view, in my opinion, in Owakemi Badenoch. So why would any party have a Nigerian black chick with dreadlocks sort of heading up the party? Maybe you just wouldn't, would you? I mean, this is insanity. Surely we're dealing with what's insanity. Now, some people are saying, well, you have to have only a straight white male will do in head of the party. Okay, well, let's remember that straight white males such as David Cameron and Boris Johnson and so on have been, or on the Labor side, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, have been more than happy to sell Britain and the British public and the British citizens out to the globalists. In fact, they've gagged and fallen over themselves to do it. So just having a straight white male in the leadership role or prime ministerial role, I mean, look at Keir Starmer. He says his first sort of priority is giving Davos and World Economic Forum what they want, not what the British public want or would vote for or need or should have. So he's got it right out there. He's going to sell Britain out to the globalists even more than it has been. So let's come back to, so having a straight white male isn't a guarantee that you're going to have a loyal, patriotic citizen. Far from it. A lot of the so-called elites are again all falling over themselves and gagging to sell Britain out to the globalists without trying to, without even considering the wishes of the British people. In fact, acting in open defiance to the wishes of the British people. So let's have a look at, come back to Kemi. Now, Kemi's, you couldn't describe Kemi as a beauty queen in any sense of the word. And yet she's able to marry a white guy who himself is no Hollywood, movie star. He hasn't got any Hollywood movie good looks or anything. But you would suspect he could have done better than, I would, just in my view, he could have done better than someone like Kemi. But But anyway, and he's got a well-paid, prestigious job in international finance. So the very people that are at the epicenter of pushing globalization and through the financial sector, pushing globalization and pushing mass movements of third world peasants. He works in that area, and he's married to Kemi. So the idea that Kemi would be an outlier and would represent the British people, the Nigerian chick with the dreadlocks, is quite absurd, and her connections and so on. And you're very susceptible, I think, to globalist pressure. If if Kemi comes and says, we're gonna stop all mass migration, skilled migration only from now on. We will have a rigorous, vigorous border policy. All boats will be turned back. All woke is going to be gone out of schools. Teachers that try woke will be fired. She comes out with a manifesto like that, fine. And at the very least, even if they didn't follow through on it, it would certainly move the Overton window in different directions. But let's suppose Kemi is for example, would be prime minister. The Nigerian black chick with dreadlocks is going to be the prime minister of the United Kingdom. I love that. If there is an ultimate humiliation and degradation of Britain, that would be it. But anyway, let's suppose that's the case. Then Kemi and any of her relatives and her husband, this sort of thing, would very quickly find themselves on the unemployment queues. There would be every door would be closed to them for these well-paid, prestigious consultancies that are so plentiful for those who support the globalist project. So you haven't got a whole lot of room to move when you're doing that. If you hold views that the globalists don't like, as Liz Truss found out, then they can get rid of you in days. Even if you're the elected, as in Conservative Party membership, if you're the elected Prime Minister, they can still get rid of you. This idea that Liz Truss sort of caused the bank, broke the bank or something, that's bullshit. They did it to her. It wasn't her. It was done to her. They took her out back and in a political fiscal sense, pack rape to there. So coming back to this very notion, it drives me crazy. The very notion that the Nigerian black chick with dreadlocks who talks like she's in a high school debating team, that she's considered or is thought of as being a party leader. This is insane. Now, if she wants to whichever politician out of the Conservative side, the Tories, comes up with a platform of all mass migration stops, skilled and highly skilled, by the way, migration only, that's it. Then I'm sort of, that person from my position at least would be, they would justify their position as leader on those issues alone. But until that time comes, then is anybody worth taking that role as Tory party leader unless they've got a policy platform that is supported by the British people? You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.